8 years ago, Trump and Brexit fueled fears that social media was corrupting reality. Now that narrative is falling apart. London, when Donald Trump won in 2016, social media was the scapegoat. Not this time. Trump's first presidential victory, coupled with the shock Brexit result in the UK, has left middle-class Americans and Europeans searching for explanations. They're blaming social media. In Brexit's case, the blame was placed on data firm Cambridge Analytica, which was accused of brainwashing voters. In Trump's case, it was Russian trolls. Everyone said technology was to blame, said Reese Peck, a professor of journalism and political communication at the City University of New York. The algorithms were to blame. What followed was nearly a decade of disinformation concerns. Policymakers fretted over how social media platforms were changing the foundations of society. A big disinfo industry emerged to combat misinformation. NGOs have poured money into stemming the tide of falsehoods, while fact-checking operations have vowed to police the boundaries of reality. But not everyone is convinced the threat is real. After the 2016 election, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said the claim that the only reason anyone voted for Trump is because of fake news showed a lack of empathy. 8 years later, after Trump's landslide victory, Zuckerberg's view is once again relevant. This time, there's no big mystery, like, wow, why did this happen, said Kelly McBride, a media ethics fellow at the Poynter Institute. Nobody was duped into voting for Donald Trump. The rise and fall of the big disinfo narrative. Trump's victory is just the latest blow to the big disinfo narrative, which has come under increasing scrutiny in recent years. The explosion of disinformation. The study of disinformation predates 2016, but the field has exploded since Trump's victory. The focus has shifted from disinformation, deliberate lies, to misinformation that spreads without people knowing. Concerns peaked during the COVID-19 pandemic, which sparked an infodemic, a flood of fake news that President Joe Biden has said could kill a lot of people. It culminated in Trump's ban from several social media platforms after the January 6, 2021, riot. 4 years later, Trump has been re-elected president, and back on Facebook, vaccine skepticism is rising, and trust in the media is plummeting. In the midst of this, researchers are beginning to question the effectiveness of their field. The crisis in misinformation studies. A Harvard Misinformation Review article in October 2023 declared that there is a crisis in misinformation studies. For nearly a decade, misinformation has been a central focus of political elites, NGOs, and the media. But the field has failed to answer fundamental questions, such as its impact on elections or its links to extremism. The main problem? Even the definition of misinformation is still up for debate. Polarization and research challenges. Research shows that the most dangerous misinformation comes from prominent figures, not internet trolls. And many misleading claims are made in televised debates or campaign rallies, not just on social media. Some academics even question whether misinformation can be the subject of scientific study. Dan Williams, a professor of philosophy at the University of Sussex, wrote that it is a mistake to delegate the determination of truth to a group of misinformation experts. Political attacks and platform shifting. In the U.S., Republicans have accused misinformation researchers of colluding with the Biden administration to curtail free speech. Lawsuits and political pressure have forced some institutions, like the Stanford Internet Observatory, to shut down. Meanwhile, social media platforms have begun to scale back content moderation. Zuckerberg has acknowledged that Meta may have been too accommodating to government pressure during the pandemic. Elon Musk has gone even further, lifting many of the moderation rules at X, Twitter. YouTube, Meta, and X are no longer removing false claims about the 2020 election. New platforms like Threads and Blue Sky are giving users more control over the content they see. The future of narrative and politics. While misinformation still exists, the hyper-focus on facts versus hoaxes is too narrow. Alice Marwick of Data and Society says the real problem lies in grand narratives that have been around for hundreds of years, like stigmas about immigrants or racial issues. The problem is not units of fact, but entrenched stories, she says. A fact-based approach alone is not enough. Political persuasion, says Reese Peck, relies more than ever on charisma and emotional connection with an audience, something that can't be defeated by fact-checking alone. Conclusion. The narrative that social media is undermining democracy is slowly crumbling. What remains is this question: if not algorithms or Russian trolls, then what really drives modern politics? The answer may be more complex and more human than simply disinformation.